welcome back to the Fish Life Podcast. Hey, tonight we do have a little bit of serious stuff to talk to you about. This is completely unacceptable behavior that has been going on with Lake Fork bass fishing guides. We're going to address it tonight, tell you guys what you should or should not put up with. There's some things going on that you definitely should not tolerate on the water at Lake Fork when you're bass fishing coming from some of our guides. We're going to address that, call it out, call it for what it is, and tell you what to look out for and how to deal with it if it does happen to you while you're out on the water. Oh yeah, we're going to get into our tournament stuff, NPFL. By the way, we kind of short sold that. Had some big guns fishing in the NPFL this weekend. We're going to talk about that. We're going to preview the Bass Pro Tour. We're going to do all that coming up right here on the lowest budget, actually live bass fishing podcast that is known as the L Ball makes you guys the low ballers, and this is the Fish Life Podcast. Chris, crank them tunes. Let's get it, dog. Cheers, y'all. Let's get after it tonight. Chris, they wrote the first line of the song about us.
You know, since we opened up to this, I figured it was only
get your words out. It's a podcast.
I was gonna say protocol for me to wear no sleeves. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. In fact, I was at the concert Thursday night, and they, in fact, did write this song, the first line, about us. I confirmed it. Confirmed. If you guys missed that post, we had some pictures posted on Facebook. We might throw in some video clips from behind the stage over there at the Whiskey Myers show. All right, let's fade that one out and let's get into it, brother, because we got some stuff to talk about tonight. We got to change our tone a little bit at the beginning of this one.
That was a professional.
Pretty professional, considering we're doing everything on the lowest budget with a couple of busted up cell phones and chargers. I really am pretty impressed with how good we do.
We do well.
I've impressed ourselves. Like, we have impressed ourselves with how good we do, considering just how low budget it actually is. Somebody's asking me already in the comments that I hear about the Elliott Electric tournament. God, I hope nothing crazy happened there, because no, I'm not even talking about that. We are going to get it. We got some good. We got a interesting. I think it's an interesting redneck science segment that we're going to get into. You talking to you about fishing after this storm. We're going to talk about fishing after a storm. Actually, somebody just commented about fishing after a storm. We're going to get into that in redneck science. We are going to talk about our tournament stuff as we always do. Of course, answer questions and comments towards the end, like we try to do every time. But man, there's something going on at Lake Fork that's just not okay. It's unacceptable. It's completely 1,000,000% unacceptable. Now, I'm no stranger to drama around Lake Fork. A lot of it's been brought on me without me wanting it. It just kind of has been part of the deal, it seems like, for whatever reason at Lake Fork. If you're very successful out there at all, and you've known this, you've been around the area, you've known, like we've known about this before I was guiding, that there's always guides going at each other, and guys have issues and take exception to each other, and that's, you know, it kind of is what it is. There's more bass fishing guides on Lake Fork than any other lake, and it's not a very big lake, so there's going to be some of that. There's, you know, in fishing, there's ego. That's just, you know, this is a sport that's full of, for the most part, great, hardworking, family-first, God-fearing people. But there is a lot of ego in this, like these guys, and there's a lot of mystery in fishing, right? Like when you don't have weigh-ins and you're talking about fishing guides, like, how do you judge who's the best? And these guys' egos, sometimes they get to butting heads with each other. Oh, he's only fishing there because he saw me fishing there. Well, that automatically means that you got to take the assumption that you're smarter than he is, which I could go all day on that. That's not even what we're talking about, guys.
Yeah.
That drama is going to exist. We're never going to stop it. It's just going to be what it's going to be. You just deal with it the best you can, address it when you feel like you need to, and you move on, and you just thank God that you're getting to go fishing every day. That's what I try to do personally. I try to have a moment every morning where I'm just grateful to the Lord for getting to do what I do, because there's that moment for me every morning when you're easing out of the marina. It's like, this is pretty awesome. No matter how bad my day is going, how bad my life off the water is going, there's that moment every day. It just keeps me sane pretty much. So just try to stay grateful for those opportunities. But what I have heard, I have had multiple people come up and talk to me, and these are not fishing guides. These are not random, but just, you know, your average visitor to the lake from out of state, out of town, whatever have you. They don't know anybody around here. They're just coming to Lake Fork because the reputation of Lake Fork, they want to try and catch some big bass, which is that's how all the businesses around the lake stay alive, including all of us fishing guides. So for a fishing guide to be doing what they're doing, what I'm hearing about, is completely unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. And I want to put this out there, number one, because it's unacceptable and I don't want these guys doing this. But number two, I want you guys to know that there's a whole bunch of guys on the lake that would never, ever do this kind of behavior. So let's just quit building up to it and let you guys know what has been going on. There is at least one, if not multiple, fishing guides that are rolling around Lake Fork right now and coming and fishing close to people. That's not a problem. You're going to fish close to people on Lake Fork in the springtime at times. It's going to happen. But these guys are coming up on guys, just random guys, and asking them and basically demanding that they leave because that's a spot they've been fishing with customers and they have customers and that guy doesn't. He's just recreational fishing and they're working, so that they need to leave that spot. Under no circumstances is it acceptable for a fishing guy to expect you to leave a spot or even think about asking you to leave a spot. I would never do that. My time on the water with my customers is no more valuable than your time on the water. You spent your hard-earned money to get here and to fish this lake and to buy that boat and to gas it up and to buy all the tackle. This is an expensive hobby for everybody that does it. Yes, this is how I make my living, but as a guy who fishes here every day, I hope that I can figure out how to deal with the pressure better than the average guy can.
Right.
I hope I can find more areas to fish than the average guy can, considering I've been here most days for years.
You would think.
If any guide ever asks you to leave a spot because he's a guide and you're not, and he's working and you're not, I don't even know what you tell him other than no thank you. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. That is absolutely insane. What you probably should tell him is absolutely not, sir. And it's absolutely ridiculous for you to value your time on the water more than mine. I worked hard to get here just like those people worked hard to pay you to be a fishing guide. Why am I any less valuable than them? You're not. You're not less valuable than them. And any guy that thinks that is just a dude that is so concerned with catching fish to build his reputation. He's got so much ego involved. It's ego, guys. He's got so much ego involved in the fish they catch that he cannot imagine not being able to fish his spot and catch the best fish possible because he's worried about how it's going to hurt his ego. That's what he's worried about. It's not going to affect his business in the long run if he doesn't get to fish one spot on the lake. It's not. You should never ask somebody to leave a spot because you're a fishing guide. If there's a fishing guide out there listening to this that does this, you are dead wrong. If you want to dress with me one-on-one anytime, you're more than welcome to. We can talk about it all you want to, dog. Like, it is absolutely ridiculous for you to think you have priority on the water over anybody else. That is so ugly, so ugly. It's just an ugly side of the bass fishing guide business. And there's guys that don't like me on the lake. There's no secret about that. Listen. I'll sit here and tell you there's plenty of guys on Lake Fork that don't like me, and I'll sit here and tell you they're good dudes and they're good fishing guides. Brooks Rogers would never ask you to leave a spot. He wouldn't even pull up on you. He'll go to the next creek. He'll leave the whole zip code. Brooks, old school. He don't believe in fishing around no one unless he absolutely has to. Jason Hoffman's not going to ask you to leave a spot. Andrew Grill's not going to ask you to leave a spot. And these are guys that don't like me. Greg West, I don't think would ask you to leave a spot. Justin Margraves, I don't think would ask you to leave a spot. These guys are phenomenal fishing guys and phenomenal guys. And I pointed all of them out because none of those guys like me. Yeah. They all are not fans of Billy Lawson. They don't like the exposure the content brings. They don't like the idea of an app with fishing spots, and that's fine. And I appreciate their opinion on that. And I disagree with it, but I respect their right to have their opinion on that. But I also respect them as men first, and also their fishing abilities and guide abilities. Those are all guys that are great. Coach Wells is in one of the comments over here. Steve Wells is a retired coach that guides some now on Lake Fork. I guarantee you he would never, ever think about asking someone to leave a spot because he's on a guide trip.
Most professional guides would never even think to ask.
The tour anglers,
right?
The tour anglers, when they come to Lake Fork in May or when Bass Pro Tour was here in February, guaranteed they never asked a local or an out-of-town guy that was fishing to leave an area so they could fish. They never did. They never will on any lake they go to. So whoever's doing that, shame on you. You are a shame to the guiding community. You're a disgrace to the guiding community. You're a disgrace to bass fishing. You need to change your behavior right now. It's unacceptable, and it's making people have a less than fun experience on Lake Fork. And our job as fishing guides is to make people have the most fun they can at Lake Fork, whether they're in your boat or in somebody else's. Right. Our job as citizens of Lake Fork and locals of Lake Fork, we all survive off of out-of-town traffic. We all survive off people coming to visit this lake in this community. That is our,
It's your nest egg.
yeah, that's our market. Like, that's how we live. Like, that's our whole way of surviving. So our job as locals and guides around here is to open our arms to these people and welcome them and help them any way we can. We've tried to do that at Year Lake Fort Guide by helping with videos and things like that. We should not be trying to run these people off. So just shame on whoever's doing that. Whoever you are, and you know who you are, shame on you, man. That's a daggone disgrace, and it's as bad as all the Lake Fort drama I've heard over the years, guys trying to fight somebody or whatever else. That is the most shameful behavior I've ever heard of. Going up to somebody from out of state that's visiting the lake and telling them they don't need to fish there, they need to get off your spot because you're a guide and you have customers. How egotistical is that?
Some people's behavior never ceases to amaze me.
Listen, I think Captain Woodrow F. Call said it best.
Go on.
I hate rude behavior in a man.
Yeah.
I won't tolerate
Won't
it.
tolerate it.
Won't tolerate it.
No.
No. There you go. That's what's going on. It's unacceptable behavior. That's a good 10 minutes on Lake Fort drama.
And how not to act.
Jay Bonner brings up a good point. How good would this lake be if all the guides pulled together? It'd be busy, I know that. If all the guides would quit fighting each other and help each other promote it and help each other stay on the fish and do all, like if everybody worked together, all the guys worked together on this lake, dude. But the problem is egos get involved. And one guy's worried about this guy having a bigger reputation than this guy, or this guy getting a bigger piece of the pie than he's got. Hell was getting a bigger piece of the pie. Let's just grow the whole daggum pie. Right, and then like I'm with you, Jay, on that. And Jay guides on Lake Fork. He started guiding here the last couple of years. I'm with you. Let's just grow the pie bigger and quit fighting with each other. Mm-hmm. But human nature, I'm also realistic. Human nature tells me we're never going to get rid of the egotistical drama that goes on a crowded lake like Fork. It's
like anything else.
Perfect situation for that, with it being how many guides are there, how small the lake is compared to other destination lakes, how much out-of-town traffic, local traffic it does get. It's never going to stop. Like, we're always going to have some drama, but you cannot, under any circumstances, ask somebody or expect somebody to move because you're a fishing guide. I will never expect you guys to leave an area because I pull in at a fish. I can assure you that. And nobody I work with will either. And if I find out they did, they won't work with me anymore. So, anyway, that's where I stand on that. Bass Fishing CT said the guy should have told the guide's clients to get a refund and hop on his boat because apparently he had the spot. That's a fair point. No, that's the other part too, right? Like if you can't deal with the traffic on Lake Fork like Lance Vick does and like all the other guys we've already mentioned do, if you can't deal with the traffic and carry yourself as a professional and still get people on fish, I mean, that's why it's hard to be a fishing guide and be good and successful at it. That's one of the reasons. Like, if you can't handle that, then you don't need to be guiding anyway. You know, it's just the reality of it. If you cannot handle that pressure and you can't find the fish when your spot is occupied, if you can't duplicate that pattern, then you don't need to be guiding. You're not good enough to be guiding anyway. So, it just is what it is. And sometimes, at times, that means going to another lake to find fish for them. Mm-hmm. If you have to do that, I do that. Everybody does that, but
Lake Fork is somebody asked how big it was. 27,000?
27,000 acres at full pool. Right now, I don't know what it is right now, but it's 6 foot low. It's significantly less than that with almost no shoreline cover to speak of right now because the lake being low. It is fishing very small this year. And I think that's why you're seeing what you're seeing there. I've heard of this once in a while in the past, but I've never had like people come up to me consistently, like just random dudes from wherever that are out of town at the lake coming up going, hey man, is it kind of normal for guides to expect you to leave a spot? Like, people, that's what they're coming, like, they're wondering if they're doing something wrong. I'm like, no, hell no, bro.
Yeah.
You fish, you traveled here to fish, you fish, brother. You fish. So
I saw another viewer question that we probably need to answer. Somebody asked if the Smash Tech hollow body would be good to use on Lake Ray Roberts.
yeah, right now,
yeah.
anywhere in the region, really, it's just that bait is so dynamic in the vibration that it has from a weedless swim bait. There's just not another one like it. And every year when we get to this time of year, it is a go-getter, and I can take it to all the different lakes in the area and catch fish.
And Ray Roberts a big fish factory now, so.
Ray Roberts is a big fish pond, and it's got some shallow cover vegetation, different things, bushes, flooded grasses, emergent grasses. So yes, it is set up. Yes. The answer is yes. And especially when shad spawn's going on. Anytime shad spawn's going on, that hollow belly swim bait's a player. For sure.
I wanted to touch that before we.
Speaking of shad spawns, we're getting just professional now.
Let's get into redneck science. It's a nice little segue.
Smooth transition into shad spawn, because what we've got going on tonight, folks, is our typical East Texas thunderstorm situation where you got some severe thunderstorms going to come through the area overnight and into the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers, by the way. Throw that in there. But man, shad spawn, the threadfin shad spawn especially, is an early morning exclusive. Like it happens early in the morning and that's it. It's usually about the first hour of the day, maybe 2, and then it's done. Now, if it's real cloudy, it may stay throughout the day a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
But those fish in the shad spawn are real shallow. Most of the fish in the lake right now are on the bank, dude. They're dirt shallow. There's some going back out deeper. A lot of them are dirt shallow. So when you have these severe thunderstorms that roll through this area, there's a lot of lightning and thunder that goes into that. And that's bright and loud. And you got to think, in a fish's world, yeah, he hears boats and all that, but for the most part, his existence is a pretty peaceful existence in the shallow water areas, just kind of cruising around or hanging out wherever he hangs out. There's no sudden thunderclaps most of his life. And what I have found over the last few years, especially, I've kind of started noticing this more and more. And we even saw this play last year at the Bassmaster Classic. They had a little bit of a shad spawn deal. And on day 2, they had a thunderstorm roll in right before launch. They had a bunch of lightning, and those guys struggled hard that morning. So when you have a violent storm system roll through overnight and go right up into daylight time, and it's full of lightning and thunder, you gotta know, like, that shad spawn deal's done. Like, it's not happening. Like, it's most likely not going to happen. No, there's no absolutes in fishing, but it's pretty assured that your shad spawn is not going to occur that next morning.
That's as close to an absolute as you're going to get.
It's pretty much, I mean, I don't know if I can go quite that far, but yeah, it is. It's pretty safe bet. That shad spawn deal is not going down. Those fish are going to get off that bank and suspend and kind of hide and get real inactive during that storm and after with all that thunder and lightning. When they're shallow, it spooks them, it scares them, is what I believe happens. And a lot of touring professionals share the same belief as me. I've cultivated this belief over the last couple of years through talking to some of these guys about this situation. So, it's really my belief, but it's like everything else in fishing. Like, how'd you learn how to do this technique? Well, so-and-so showed me, or I saw it on this TV show, or, we all learn in fishing through others. And I've learned about this lightning affecting these bass, especially shad spawn bass, through talking to professional anglers.
You just said cultivated. That is a $5 word.
It's pretty big.
My man.
The biggest word you'll ever hear in Redneck Science segment.
My man. That's not the only thing he's learned along the years. He's learned some big words. My man.
Let's go.
Sorry, you knocked me out. I mean, I was in the zone, but you kind of.
Yeah, you know me pretty well. It's not often I bust out one of those.
No, that's a $5 word. That right there is. Woo.
Yeah.
My man.
Listen, we're moving on up. You did the professional fade. I figured I should step my game up.
Yeah,
as well.
no, I'm with it. I'm with it. That's good stuff.
So we've got to watch out for that, guys. When we have these storms, like if you're going fishing tomorrow morning, like that shad spawn's not going to happen, right? So how do we deal with that when the shad spawn doesn't happen? Well, I think the first thing you got to do is you got to make a decision. Are you going to try to target those fish that were on the shad spawn and try to target them a different way, or are you going to go target a completely different fish? Because right now the other option is spawning bass. There's bass that are spawning in shallow water now. I will tell you, first thing after that storm, those fish are going to be a little shy to bite as well.
Yeah.
And you're not able to see beds on Lake Fork right now. So you're going to have to just kind of blind pitch the stumps, which is already tough, slow fishing anyway, right? Already tough, slow fishing anyway. And then you're going to be dealing with post-thunderstorm conditions. So those fish are going to be a little more reluctant to bite. I actually would not target those because of the situation right now on Lake Fork. Now, if I can still see the bed fish after the storm, that's what I would target, right? But on Lake Fork right now, what I'm going to do, if we're going to go fishing rain, I still haven't talked to my customer for tomorrow yet. We've been missing each other today on messages and calls, but I'm going to talk to them, see if they want to try to fish in the rain. I don't know that we're going to be able to, because if there's lightning, I won't fish. I just refuse to fish in the lightning, but I will fish in the rain.
Yeah. No
So
doubt.
if we're going out fishing in the rain, what I'm actually going to do is go to these areas that have had shad spawn happening, and I'm going to pull out, and I'm going to fish in 5, 6, 8, 10, 12 foot of water. Okay, and I'm going to slow down. I'm going to pick up a shaky head. I'm going to pick up a Carolina rig, and I'm going to really slow down in those areas. And I feel like those fish will be inactive and moving slow, so I'm going to be inactive and move slow. Maybe I'll throw a jerk bait a little bit, but mostly it's going to be slow dragging baits. And I think that's going to be the way to target them. So the Billy Ray's Redneck Science segment tonight is all about dealing with thunderstorms, which we deal with in the South in the springtime, big time.
Yeah.
When the fish are shallow, how do you deal with a thunderstorm? Either you go find different fish to catch, or you take those fish where you've been catching them and pull out and slow the hell down.
Dude, one of my go-to baits after a thunderstorm like this, when I know I got to fish the day after, or even a thunderstorm carrying into the morning hours like you talked about, I'm throwing that wacky worm a lot.
Wacky worm. See, and the only reason I'm not is because I'm wanting to get deeper.
Correct.
I
Yeah,
want to get
I'm
deeper.
with
If
it.
I was staying shallow, like if I was targeting those spawning bass, the wacky worm would be the deal. I think.
Right.
I really think it would. So, but yeah, no, I'm wanting to fish a little bit deep for that. There's the Redneck Science segment.
That is dialed in. See,
What is-
people are impressed by your big worm.
Cultivating intelligent conversation. Have I used the Carolina pre-rig from 6 cents? Yeah, I use it every day. Every day when I'm fishing shad spawn points, I'll try to pick up bonus bites with the Carolina rig.
That thing's a money maker, ain't it?
Yeah, it's pretty good. You know, it doesn't get hung up very bad. To me, it doesn't cast quite as good as like the regular weight because it's a little more elongated. It's not quite as compact. So it doesn't cast quite as far, but it still casts. I mean, you're throwing the 1 ounce one, it casts pretty dang far.
Yeah.
And if you're on the right setup and all that. But
I throw a 3/4 to a 1 ounce just about no matter
with that
where I
flexible arm in it and everything, it really comes through snags and stuff really well.
Yeah.
Really well. Somebody asked what the best private lake lodge was in Texas for big bass. I mean, I think that title still goes to Camelot.
It's Camelot Bell.
And I would probably ask to fish the Wolfpack, the newer lake, because I've heard that the Wolfpack now is kind of better than, it's more consistent than Camelot Bell is, but it's all part of the Camelot Bell property, and they've got a new lake called the Wolfpack. That those fish are just a little fresher, a little younger, a little easier to catch, whereas Camelot Bell has gotten some of the big fish hunting pressure on it over the years. But no, Camelot Bell. Now it's going to cost you. I think it's $1,500 a day. I think for Camelot Bell. Or at least last I heard it was.
I don't know anything about that one.
No. And he asked about Florida. Man, I really don't know about the Florida lakes. I'm sorry. Yeah, Camelot Bell and Wolfpack. That's where I would, if I was looking to go pay a lot of money to fish a private lake in Texas, and the guy there is sharp, man. He's real sharp about everything that's going on at the fishery. He limits how many people fish out there and all that. It's really good. So it's probably still, don't you think? I think it's still your best bet to go target trophy bass on a private lake.
If somebody asked me, private lake, what's your go-to trophy bass, I'm going Camelot Bell.
There's a private waters fishing deal that you can actually, it's really affordable. You can be a member of, and like, you know, rent a lake for the weekend with a cabin and all that. And they've got great fisheries on there. You catch a ton of bass on them. They're limited on traffic and all that too. But for trophy bass, there's just nothing that has earned the reputation anywhere close to what Camelot Bell has over the years of what it's kicked out.
Yeah.
It's kicked out a lot of teenage, like teen-weighted fish over the years.
Yeah.
Lots of them.
Yeah.
So, well, I guess not as smooth on this transition,
Oh, sure.
but
Speaking of trophy-sized bass,
speaking of trophy size bass, well, not quite trophy size, but
it's still not bad.
we saw a Bassmaster Classic on Lake Hartwell, so why not a National Professional Fishing League on Lake Hartwell? Because here's the deal. Last week we were kind of like, man, there's not going to be much for you guys to watch this week. If you want to watch live tournament coverage, you're going to have the NPFL, and then we weren't even sure if the FLW Tour or whatever it's called now does live coverage anymore or not, but the NPFL had live coverage for sure. And we undersold it. Let me apologize right now to everybody with the NPFL. I apologize for not highlighting this the way we should have last week because, I mean, it's not that we didn't mean any slight towards NPFL, but we typically concentrate on the Bass Pro Tour and the Bassmaster Elite Series.
Correct.
On the tournament coverage that we do here on the podcast. I had heard this earlier in the year, and to be honest with you, I just straight up forgot about it. But you got guys like Patrick Walters fishing. It kind of, hey, maybe we ought to watch. And he wasn't the only one.
Jason Williamson was in there too.
We got Patrick Walters. We got Jason Williamson. I know Hackney was talking about maybe fishing it there for a while. I didn't see his name. Of course, John Sukup is fishing it. We've talked to him before. He's a freaking hammer. And there's lots of great fishermen on the NPFL. I don't mean to slight any of these guys on here. But as far as guys that fish from the Elite Series, like Quentin Capo, who was on the Elite Series last year, he's in it. And I'm probably missing some because I'm scrolling through here pretty fast. I could have swore I heard something about Greg Hackney. It was John Cox. John Cox is fishing the NPFL. I mean, when you got guys like John Cox, Patrick Walters, Quentin Capo, Jason Williamson, I mean, these are Elite Series level dudes, man. So
I'm not sure that that's the same John Cox, though.
That's not the same John Cox?
I don't believe so.
Oh, I thought he did fish the NPFL. I thought
different John Cox.
Different John Cox. Never mind.
He's still John Cox.
They're still pretty cool. Is that kind of like the Jason Christie? Still Jason Christie?
Stop it.
We haven't brought him up in a while.
Stop it. Christie with a Y still has not caught a fish.
Christie with a Y still. Christie with a Y update. He still has not caught a bass.
Still has not caught a bass.
What would be so funny is if Christie with a Y got out there on social media, made a video with holding the bass, like, look, I caught one.
Yeah.
Now that would make everybody love him right there.
Just tags us both.
That would make everybody love him right there if he did that.
We give that guy a lot of grief.
Well, he brought a lot on himself. I mean, let's just be real. He brought a lot of it on himself. But the NPFL went to Lake Hartwell, and of course they go to South Carolina. So the Carolina kid, Patrick Walters, old P-Dub, comes through with a second place finish. I think he was leading after day one, if I remember correctly.
46 pounds, 14 ounces over 3 days.
And then Drew Six. That's a pretty good name.
Yeah, it's a cool name.
It's like Nikki Six, but more redneck.
Right.
Drew Six.
Right.
With a pretty big, bro. Like, this guy didn't win. Like, he kind of beat him up a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had almost 20 pounds on day 3, 19-1. He had 51.5, so almost 5 pounds, 4.5 pounds.
He had a kicker. He had a kicker ahead of everybody else, basically.
Ahead of Patrick Walters. And then what's interesting, though, is you look at the weights. Patrick's at 46.14. Jason Wilson's at 46.14. Brian Smith, 46.11. T.R. Andreas, 45.1. Jason Williamson, 45.1. Jesse Millsap, 44.9. 44.6. 44.6. 43.13. 43.13.
The top 10 was tight.
Everybody was close. Everybody was within a pound or two, all the way through top 10, 12, 15. Except for this guy, Drew Six, who just opened up a can on everybody. And
I was about to say something I probably shouldn't say.
What?
I was going to say...
well, definitely say it. If you shouldn't have said it, definitely say it.
I was going to say, what do you think he... you think he had 51.5 on Bass Track? Or do you think he sandbagged it a little bit?
Next time NPFL has an event, we have to make a point to watch their live coverage to see how accurate their weights are on live covers.
Yeah.
Compared to Bass Track.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, on Bass Track, he was probably in second place to Patrick Walters.
No doubt. He had 44 pounds.
He was right behind Patrick on Bass Track.
Only weighed 3 of his
But then showed up at the weigh-in and won by 5 pounds.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. For sure. No, that's a dude. Congratulations. I don't know, Drew. Said, to be honest with you, I apologize, Drew. I don't know who you are, brother, but that is one hell of a performance when you take those kind of names and the other, like all the guys that are in the NPFL that are really good. You take those guys and then you beat everybody by 5 pounds when everybody else is log jammed up together. That is showing off a feat. That's impressive. That's an impressive feat. So good job to Drew Six. He did it sight fishing too.
Dude, if I beat Patrick Walters in a fashion show, I'm making a Facebook post about it. Let alone a fishing tournament. You know what I'm saying?
But them shorts are going to be tough to beat.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, shorty shorts are going to be tough to beat in a fashion show.
You can't beat him in a fashion show or a fishing event.
No, shorty shorts is going to be tough to get.
Drew Six probably did both.
I don't know. How short were your shorts, Drew Six? That's what we really
need to know.
That's what we really need to know is how short were Drew Six's shorts. But he did it sight fishing. That's pretty cool, man. I'll be honest with you, as much as I love to sight fish, watching sight fishing tournaments ain't really the funnest thing.
No, it's not. But
on live coverage, you sit there and watch a guy do this for an hour.
But you know what? I have a lot of respect.
Shake it.
I have a lot of respect for guys that will go sight fishing tournaments like that for the sole purpose of those dudes are spending that much time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They know if they catch that one, they're not culling it.
I just like the confidence that comes with it.
I think sight fishing is the best way to go when you're tournament fishing.
I agree.
When on a bet, I think it's the best way to go because when you look at a fish, Okay, I'm not going to call that one today.
Right.
And that's the only kind you stop on, and then you win by 5 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it works, man. And you don't have to catch 20 fish or 10. You got to catch 5.
Right.
And that's all you have to do. You've got an hour and a half, essentially, or hour and a third on every fish you pull up on to catch it because you only got to catch 5.
I mean, dude, a 17-pound average is pretty good. So.
Bass Fishing CT says if you watch BTL, they mention something about some sort of point incentive for anglers whose bass track weight is within a certain amount of their actual weight to keep them honest. They actually, I don't know about the point incentive because that's going to affect Angler of the Year, and I don't think that should affect Angler of the Year. In my opinion, it shouldn't.
Right.
But I will tell you this: there is a bonus
Yes.
for being the most accurate person on bass track. The problem with that is it's only incentivizing one guy. Mm-hmm. There's only one guy going to get that, so I think they all kind of just don't worry about it because it's only one guy that's going to get it. It's not that. I mean, it's a nice little chunk of money, $1,000, whatever it is, but it's nothing too special. And they do get a bonus for the guy that's the most accurate on bass track throughout the week. So there's some incentivization. Is that a word?
I like it.
It is now.
Yeah.
There's some of that going on, but it still is not going to.
$1,000 a derby for closest weight is what.
Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do. Now, for them to install a point incentive, I don't like that. I personally don't like that at all. I think Angler of the Year is too sacred and too important. I do think they should have bonus points for wins. I think wins should be more valuable than what they. If you win a tournament, you shouldn't just be 1 point better than second and 2 points better than third.
No, there should be.
Like, you need to give me a 20, 30, 50 point bonus for wins. That's just my personal opinion.
No doubt.
I think the wins are more valuable, but. I don't know what we're going to do about bass track. I really don't see any way to solve it. I know that, Mercer makes a good point about the moments at the weigh-in. That's a valid point. It can take away from some of those moments at the weigh-in.
You can't replicate that raw emotion.
And I used to say, well, right after Classic, I'm like, well, dude, like every tournament, when they go to weigh-in, we pretty much know who won before they get there. So what moment is it going to change? 1 or 2 a year?
Right.
Within the very next tournament, it was a buzzer beater.
Yeah.
And the next tournament, it was a buzzer beater.
Yeah.
And so now every tournament they've had has been like, we don't know who's going to win until they get there.
Yeah.
And that moment's important. I get it. That moment is important. That moment is for far less people, though, in my opinion. That moment is for far less people than the live coverage on the water is. I don't think everybody that watches live coverage on the water watches the final weigh-in.
Correct.
I don't think they do.
I mean,
Maybe they do on days where it's like, we don't know which way it's going to go. Maybe they do. I don't know.
I like to think I'm the average guy, and I don't.
But at the end of the day, most people are watching the live coverage on the water to see the fish catches and all that. And then when that goes off, they turn it off because there's always a good break in between the fishing and the weigh-in. And then they just look up the weigh-in that night.
Yeah, after they go mow their yard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, the only live coverage I will watch every minute of and then every minute of the weigh-in is the Bassmaster Classic.
Okay.
Period. End of story.
Well, and the classic weigh-in is so much different.
Right. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, and I like
The
to
classic
think that
weigh-in is an event in of itself.
I like to feel like me and a couple buddies will get together and watch the live
Yeah, I
coverage.
mean-
I just don't.
Dude, I love Mercer. And I know he's going to hate me saying this, but like I really think that it would help Bassmaster if the scoreboard was legitimate
Right.
on live coverage. I really do think it would. But just my opinion. Just my opinion.
Speaking of weights, you want to hear something crazy? Completely off subject. So this next weekend, I've got a fishing tournament on Lake Tyler. It's for the Troop Bass Club. It's a little fundraiser deal, whatever.
Okay.
So it's $2,000 for first place. You know what the smallest 5-fish stringer wins you $250? Do you know that?
No.
Is that not? Have you ever heard of something like that?
So you're saying you got a chance?
I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win some money.
For the smallest 5-fish stringer?
Smallest 5-fish stringer.
There you go.
Gets $250.
That's awesome.
So
That's
I'm gonna
awesome.
I'm gonna cut a clout in half and put it on a number one, and I'm
Just
trying to
Ned
catch.
rig
I'm
all
trying
day.
to catch these all day.
Go looking for spotted bass, no minimum length.
Well, you know there's plenty of those in Lake Tyler.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Those, and it's good to have those at event. We do a small bass award at our charity tournament
Mm-hmm.
at Lake Fork because you got the slot. So under the slot, the smallest bass that weighs in gets a little gets a little cash pop at our
Yeah.
charity event this summer. By the way, the Fish Life Forever Grateful Tournament Year 3, third annual, will be held July 1st this year. July 1st is the Saturday. We will have our guides tournament on July 2nd. We're already working on things, put that together. We've got the entertainment for Friday night registrations already set up. Yeah, Miss Billy Joe's coming back and bringing Matt Fisher with her, who's another great local singer to the area. So we're going to have a flat-out party July 4th weekend. Friday.
That's typically a real good
Did
time.
I give the wrong date? Pull up the calendar for me here, Chris, if you don't mind. Can you?
I got you. I'm going to do my Jamie things.
We got July 1st is Friday.
Yes.
So July 2nd is the open team tournament. July 1st is registration and the party. If you were there last year, tell your friends, it's for real. It's an amazing party.
Oh, we have a good time.
It's an amazing party. And then July 2nd is going to be the open team tournament. Everybody can enter. It's a 70% payback. 30% goes towards 22 kill to help veterans and first responders. And then on Sunday, we do a guides tournament where Saturday at the weigh-in, you can bid on a guide to be your partner in Sunday's tournament, okay? And the money raised from that you guys pay to fish with certain guides, including myself as well as many other guides, all that money goes to 22 kills. Well, we will have auction items both Friday night and I believe we'll have some Saturday night as well. So all kinds of ways for you guys to get excited. Bring your pocketbooks and let's show how much East Texas loves its veterans and first responders. That's something we need to get done in a big way. We want to grow it. It grew from year 1 to year 2. We want to try to make it even bigger in year 3. So we're going to start promoting that a lot. You'll hear a lot about that going forward from now on. Also, your Lake Fork Guide Pro Lanes for Lake Fork are now available, shipping. They shipped last week for the pre-order guys, but they are available for Lawrence only. We're still at Lawrence only right now, but your Lake Fork Guide Pro Lanes is available. It comes complete with over 400 different individual trails that I marked across Lake Fork, basically trails to every corner of Lake Fork, pretty much. It comes with 2 different lake levels. You have white trails that are good at 6 foot low and above, which you can change the color of if you like. You have red trails that are good at 3 foot low and above, water level now. Mm-hmm. When the lake reaches 3 foot low or above, all the trails are good to run. Right now with the lake 6 foot low, the white trails are good to run. All the trails come with hazard waypoints. Anytime you have a piece of standing timber or any other obstacle that gets close to the trails, it is marked on those lanes. So it's the only one that features the amount of hazard waypoints. It's the only one that features the amount of lanes, the amount of coverage of the lake. There's nothing else like that. So if you need a boat lane ship and you run a Lawrence graph, go over to yourlakeforkguide.com and order it up. You can also pick them up in person at Lake Fork Marina as well.
Bam!
We still got to talk about Bass Pro Tour.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
What's Bass Pro Tour up to, Chris?
They are fixing to be fishing the Lake of the Ozarks. And
Lake of the Zark.
here's, man, I know I'm already going to catch a lot of flack for saying this, but one of my least favorite lakes that they go to. I cannot
It would be a fun lake to fish.
Yeah,
you go there and catch a bunch of fish. You're gonna catch.
Yes.
And there's some 4 and 5, 6 pounders in there that you can catch.
No doubt.
It'd be a blast to fish. But watching guys catch all of the 1 to 2 pound. Now, are they gonna do a 2 pound minimum?
Man,
To me, that would make it a better tournament.
it would make it better.
If they did a 2 pound minimum on the Ozarks.
Let's go to details.
I don't know. We'll have to see. I think it would be better if they made a 2 pound minimum. But in the past, what we've seen is basically guys catching all the 1 to 2 pound fish they could as fast as they could. It was a race to see who could catch the most 1 to 2 pound fish.
Right.
It should be spawning season up there, like maybe a little bit earlier in the spawn, but like
Yeah, you should have a wave.
They should be starting to spawn up there by now, I would think, for sure. So
Yeah.
you're going to see a lot of guys on the bank pitching and flipping, throwing wacky worms, Sinkos. Hopefully we get some wind.
2 pound.
2 pound minimum. Beautiful. So
Beautiful.
that's going to change
That's better.
That changes our
That's
analysis of
better.
this tournament.
Because the old, not the Bass Pro Tour, the MLF format that they've always gone there with, the 1 pound minimum, man, that is.
We saw a 1 pound minimum Bass Pro Tour event there
Yes.
in year 1, I think it was.
Yes, but that's just for
And
me.
it was
it's
Jacob
tough.
Wheeler catching 87
Yeah, I mean, he
1
caught.
pound bass.
I mean, however many are living in that lake, he caught them all.
Yeah,
Every single one of them,
Yeah.
and that's great. I get it. I mean, it goes back to the argument. If you caught 86 1 pounders, or you caught
25 3 pounders.
yeah, who caught them better? Well, naturally, right? I get it.
Yeah.
But man, and I think it's almost like protocol that you have to say it's a big one when you hook it. And then it ends up being 1-3. You know what I'm saying?
That's stipulated in their contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
There you go.
you have
There
to call
go.
for a big one every time.
Here's what I'm interested to see: if we get some wind on Lake of the Ozarks, because that on those lakes, and they may have dirty water right now because of the time of year it is, and that can change everything too. But typically
clear water.
very, very clear water, not a ton of cover, not just a ton of cover.
And not East Texas clear, like 10 foot plus of visibility.
20 foot at
Yeah,
times. Yeah. And so if you get wind, whether it's all those White River lakes, Lake of the Ozarks is above the White River, but like Table Rock's the same way, Bull Shoals, all those rocky, clear water lakes, man, if you get wind, it makes all the difference in the world at times on those lakes on how you can catch them. Now, I will tell you what I would be interested to see. Will anybody have the fortitude to go in on the swim bait deal there? Because I know it exists,
Right.
especially if you get wind. And this time of year, with them being shallow, you could throw just some little, like a hollow body or, just a little, like 6-inch well, Kitech type of deal. Man, throwing a little swim bait in the wind, that's a way you can target bigger than average fish on Ozarks and catch a bunch of them at the same time. That's something I would watch out for is a swim bait jig. What about, go ahead.
The swimming jig.
Swimming jig, jerk bait.
Jerk bait works.
Jerk bait, catch all sizes of them.
You know there's a million boat docks on that lake too.
Boat docks, yeah.
So-
Oh yeah.
Like a Lake Tyler kind of ish. You fish boat docks year round.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
I mean, who can flip and pitch in most
Yeah,
boat
not a
docks?
lot of terrestrial cover net.
Somebody said that.
can't
Yeah,
say
no, I got it. I got it. I'm trying to stay on track.
I'll
You're,
say
you're killing it. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna start calling you Webster. This is ridiculous. So, no, I'm trying to. God, you knocked me off track.
I guess.
So somebody was saying a minute ago that
Callahan, I see in the comments. What's up, brother?
somebody said that Lake of the Ozarks is usually stained to dirty water. Well,
Is it?
That's what somebody said in the
Maybe
chat.
it is. Maybe I'm confusing Lake of the Ozarks with Table Rock. I'm thinking more Table Rock. This is Lake of the Ozarks. Two different deals.
It's still got to be clearer than one.
Oh well. Listen. The reality is we're trying to forecast a tournament to an area of the country that we've both never fished, and it's half a country away. So we really don't know what we're going to see. But we're happy they're doing a 2-pound minimum. We know that.
I gotta just knowing what I know about the general area.
How bad are we going to suck at fantasy fishing, not knowing what the lake actually looks like?
Oh, I got it.
You got it?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm going to let you pick first because I'm picking fork first. See how I set you up for failure down the road?
I can't say what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
I really can't. Demonetized HR is in the chat.
Pull up the roster. Let's make some picks.
I'm with it. I'm with it.
Listen, I would love to sit here and break down detailed analysis, but we just tried to do it. And now we got Table Rock is clear. Yeah, Table Rock I know is clear. But apparently Ozarks is a little bit more stained. So we don't know what the hell we're talking about when it comes to Lake of the Ozarks. We were trying to put on a good show for you guys.
I know everything.
You know everything.
I know everything.
Listen, Dick, I'm the best there is. I'm a big, hairy American winning machine.
That's right.
I wake up in the morning and
Piss
excellence.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so I'm going to take the hot hand right out of the gate because I don't want you to get him. I'm taking out Defoe.
You can have him. I'll take Wheeler.
Imagine that.
Okay. Ott and Wheeler off the table right away.
Yeah.
You gotta, what are you doing typing them in there?
Okay.
You making notes for the scoreboard next time?
Yeah.
How do we do on Palestine, by the way? Do you still have those notes?
Yeah.
Let's do that after here.
Yeah.
All right, go back to the roster for me because I got to pick again now.
Sprague.
No, I got to pick again now.
Oh, you're picking first?
Yeah, after you pick first, then I pick first. Don't be breaking the rules. You can have Sprague. I don't want him anyway.
What you got?
I need a roster, dude. I don't know
You
what I
got
want.
it. Yeah, you do. You're supposed to know.
I'm supposed to know. I know that's your boy right there.
Mm-hmm. That'd be a good one.
I thought about it as soon as I saw it. I was like, well, let me look a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, Billy about to try and steal one of my picks.
Well, I get 2 picks in a row
You
this time.
do get 2 in a row.
And then that's going to be it because we're just doing 3.
Yep.
All right. All right. I will take.
Hammer down. Who you got?
I'll take Brent Ayler.
And?
I'm trying to decide between hot hand.
It's hard to go against him. Come on, you got it.
I'll take Jordan Lee.
Jolie.
And that's not even a lake that I think he's going to be great on. But I think I saw him be arguably the best in the world for a few years. And then he had one of those deals where we talk about, well, it was like a bad year, but it wasn't really a bad year.
Bad for him.
Bad couple of years, but wasn't really bad years. But now he's kind of like John Cox. He's back. He's back up there in the mix. So, I feel good about that. I've got Jacob Wheeler, Brent Ayler, and Jordan Lee. Now, who you going with?
I got Ott, Jeff Sprague, and Dustin Connell.
Dustin Connell's an interesting pick for that fishery because if it is dirty water, he might be the best on earth dirty water river system fishery. And Ozarks isn't necessarily a true river system, but it has those narrow outcroppings, coves, whatever. And if it is dirty water, DC is a phenomenal dirty water fisherman.
He's good.
He may be he may literally be the best in the world at it.
Yeah. Let's. Did you say
Palestine. What were our picks on the heavy hitters? We can go ahead and go over that. There you go, guys. Let us know who made the best picks. I took Jacob Wheeler. I took Jordan Lee, and I took Brent Ayler. Chris took Ott Defoe. Jeff Sprague,
DC,
and Dustin Connell. Who do you think had the best picks, Team Billy or Team Chris?
Our Palestine picks, we didn't look at the roster. We had a couple fishing that didn't.
I know. What, do you have them wrote down somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
Pull them up. Quit delaying. So, yeah. Was Brian Thrift in the event?
Man, I'd have to go back and look.
Well,
Fletcher was.
Pretty sure Luke Clausen wasn't in there.
No.
So the only one fishing heavy hitters that I picked was Fletcher Strike.
And the only one that was fishing that I picked was Jacob Wheeler.
How did Jacob do?
He almost made the final day. He didn't.
Almost.
He didn't make the final.
Fletcher made the top 10. Fletcher was like, he was in the lead on it. Fletcher Fletcher kind of lost a fish that could have won it, but
yeah.
So Fletcher was a good pick. Jacob wasn't a bad pick, but unfortunately we should have looked at the heavy hitters lineup a little closer. We did not do well on picking who was in the event.
Yeah,
That's
I just saw Team Billy come through.
Nobody's interested in voting in our picks. There's two.
Team Willy Nilly.
Willy Nilly. There's a Billy too. Look, it's Pete and Repeat.
That's good.
Hey, Pete and Repeat were sitting on the fence. Pete fell off. Who was left? You know that one?
Oh, yeah.
that was my papa's favorite deal right there. He used to get you when you was a kid. He'd get you on that. I used to get so mad at him.
Pete and Repeat were sitting on the fence.
I know Repeat's left, Papa. Huh? Who is it? Repeat. Okay, Pete and Repeat were sitting on the fence. God dang it!
Yeah.
And he just keep asking you until you said it. Just Repeat. Then he'd go again.
Thrift might have been in it.
Thrift was in it.
Yeah.
Just didn't do very good.
Chris because of DC. Yeah.
Billy Snow said he is. Yeah, he's amazing in dirty water. DC is.
Yeah, he's good.
So we do have a Chris vote. Well, it'll be interesting to see. We'll be able to see next week.
Yeah.
Will it be over by next week? Probably not, because they go for like 18 days or however long they fish.
I believe the following Tuesday will be the last day.
Yeah. Chris, what else you want to talk about tonight?
Man.
Is anything else on your mind?
Dude, I've actually been, I put in a lot of hours at my real job this last week, so.
Have you got your taxes back?
Yeah.
Did you get anything crazy happen on yours?
No, I didn't know money for the first time in a long time. Weirdest thing.
Man, there's a lot of folks getting jobbed over on their taxes. I don't want to get off into all that.
Something to do with appraisals and stuff?
Man, not even appraisals. I've heard about that deal too. Mm-hmm. No, there is if you did not select certain things, I don't know. I'm not a tax person. I pay a CPA to do mine. But basically, a lot of people that have taxes withheld, they just changed the format of some things, and people are owing a lot of money. It's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
There's that old big government for you doing what they do.
Yeah. What was all the guy drama? Well, it was at the very beginning of the podcast, and we're fixing to wrap it up. So we'll turn it off, and you can go back and look at it, because I don't want to go through all of it again. There's about 10 or 15 minutes worth of...
Yeah, it started getting warm when he was going over it, so let's not do that again.
Yeah, I was pretty hot. I was very unhappy about what's been going on at Lake Fork. It's been very, very unacceptable behavior. We have really ground this to a halt tonight.
Yeah, we.
This
I mean,
is just come to like we're just sitting here looking at them. They're sitting there looking at us, and
well,
nobody's really talking.
Well, see, here's the deal. Starting next week, it starts ramping back up because we got tournaments that are more in line with kind of
Yeah.
our show schedule and everything.
Well, I just mean as far as the flow of the conversation, I was actually pretty good throughout the night, and then all of a sudden here about the last 5-10 minutes, it's just like me and you sitting here looking at each other, wondering why we haven't ended it yet.
Oh,
Chris, do that thing you do.
see you later.
See, we